it, wins it. Great start there from the front row of the grid.
Someone's down. Yeah, that's Maxwell.
It looks like Wayne Maxwell has unfortunately stepped off down there at the spokes.com.au. That might be the end of his championship challenge as well. Troy Herfoss will be the champion with 298.5 points and an unassailable lead over the rest of the field. One corner to go for Prix Halliday to take the race win and be crowned Kawasaki Supersport champion for 2018.
They're side by side, Phil. He's round.
Oh, closer than that, Max, he's gone down.
Phillip Island Grand Prix Circuit, one of the most spectacular tracks in the world. We started here and we finish here. It is round 7, our final round for the 2018 season, the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship, presented by Motul Pirelli. Hello from Emma Francesco and Steve Martin. And well, Winton was absolutely spectacular. Prix Halliday wrapped up the Kawasaki Supersport Championship, and a big congratulations also, Steve, to Troy Herfoss wrapping up the YMF Superbike Championship.
Yeah, there certainly was some fantastic racing there, Emma. But I tell you what, the racing's not over yet, because we are in for a cracker of a weekend here at Phillip Island.
Especially around this track, a nice long straight, 12 corners. It is a crowd favourite. Steve, what do we need to know about this place?
Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of slipstreaming to be had. There's a lot of high-speed corners here, a lot of overtaking opportunities as well. So one thing is for sure, the races today will be action-packed.
Let's talk about today, because we have first up Supersport 300 race, 2 races for them today to wrap up their championship. YMF Superbikes race and a Kawasaki Supersport race also. An action-packed day. Cannot wait to see who takes home the Supersport 300 championship.
Yeah, of course, Tom Bramich with that one. 35 points is all he needs to do to wrap that up. The lead at the moment with a couple of races today. We will be crowning a champion, that is for sure.
We will indeed. Still plenty of contenders for those top spots. Let's take a look now at the top 3 for the Supersport 300 championship.
The top 5, top 6, always super close. Anyone can win. So I think I just need to not lose focus, keep trying to win, and if it cookie crumbles my way, then I'd love that. But if not, then we've tried our best.
Would have hoped to have been a bit better up, but I've had a few crashes with other riders involved. So just been trying to make up every other race to stay up in the championship.
Yeah, I'm currently sitting 2nd in the championship in the Supersport 300. Yeah, I kind of expected to be in the top 3. Probably not as many points down on Tom, as leading. He's got, I think, 30 points on me, but it's doable at the moment to chase it down, and we're just going to take each race to try and get that top step. I think definitely the KTMs and the Kawasaki's are the biggest rivals out there, because for Yamaha we obviously want to win as many races as we can and keep them off the podium, but I suppose Tommy is the biggest rival, and Hunter's always there knocking, and there's a few other kids that are coming along knocking on the door, but yeah, I think mainly it's the KTMs and Kawasaki's.
Everyone's so super close. Like it's honestly hard just to focus on one rider. You got to be aware of who's around, and so they're all equally as competitive as each other. So I just got to focus on me and just worry about what I'm doing.
Welcome to Phillip Island, the scene of the final round of the 2018 Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship. The sun is shining and the action today has already been absolutely spectacular. And we start today's program with the second race for the Supersport 300 class. The championship is on the line with 50 points remaining up for grabs and absolutely nothing covering our top three. Riders are making their way around to the grid now. Joining me in commentary is Steve Martin, as we have done all season. Steve Martin, we just cannot get enough of this Supersport 300 class. The last two races of the year, championship on the line, it doesn't get any more exciting.
No, as we're about to see, Phil, this is going to be a very hectic and exciting race, a good way to start the day off. These guys know how to play, and they know how to play hard.
Coming into these final two races, Steve Martin, there is 35 points difference between Tom Bramich, who leads the championship, and Zach Levy. Hunter Ford is in third place. He's 56 points back. He can't win the championship, but he needs to secure that third place on the podium. Ollie Bayliss is the man that's challenging him. He's only 16 points behind Hunter Ford.
You can be assured that Hunter Ford will want to make an impact in this one. He won't be going for third. He'll be going for the victory. Ollie Bayliss, another one to keep an eye on. Seth Crump is close. One thing we can be assured of, Phil, is that this race is going to be very, very tight. There'll be 10 people in a group, if not more. There's plenty of people out there that want to get wins. Maxi Stauffer, another one. Travis Hall electing to do this race instead of the Asia Road Racing Championship, which is clashing this weekend as they head off on their warm-up lap.
Yes, just 4.45 kilometres to go before they'll take up their positions on the grid. Ollie Bayliss, as we mentioned, is going head-to-head with Hunter Ford for that third place on the podium. They both start from the first two positions on the grid, with Hunter Ford in pole position and Ollie Bayliss in second position. Lockie Taylor will join them on that front row of the grid as well. All of these guys have been stars in this class this year, even though they're not in contention for the outright championship win.
No, absolutely. Let's not forget Zach Levy, though, starting on the second row of the grid. You can see him there, but it is Hunter Ford on pole position with Ollie Bayliss in second and Lockie Taylor, like you say. Tommy Bramich in fourth position. Maxi Stauffer, row two there on fifth, and Zach Levy in sixth. Taylor Ralph takes seventh, and of course Laura Brown, great result for her in eighth, and Seth Crump rounds out row three.
Yeah, important for Seth Crump to get a race win. He's actually had race wins this year, but poor old Taylor Ralph still searching for that elusive podium. Round four will be Dylan Whiteside, Callum O'Brien, who's been very fast this weekend, and Harry Curry, also very fast this weekend, his first full season in the Supersport 300 class. He's got his rider coach, Steph Redmond, on the row behind him. She's joined by Peter Nerlich and Luke Johnson, with Jack Cousins, Luke Power, and Johnny Littris rounding out row six.
No, that's an absolutely good job by them. Keegan Pickering, she had a crash earlier on today. Zane Ford, of course, is there. Mitch Kuhn, Bronson Pickett on row 8. Troy Ryan, Jake Brett is there with John Quinn on row 9 next to Nicholas Clare and Grace Pouch.
John Hazeldine, Jeremy Smock and Mark Bottomley round out the 30-bike field. Keep your eye on Mitch Kuhn, though. He just had equalling his best result in the year in the Yamaha R3 Cup. Even though he's starting from 21st on the grid, wouldn't be surprised to see him up there in the lead group. A lead group of 12 to 15 bikes, Steve Martin, not out of the equation in Supersport 300.
Absolutely not. These bikes like slipstreaming, and this is Slipstream City here at Phillip Island.
Well, they're coming around to take up their positions on the grid. Harry Curry, you can see him there on bike number 43, having a great season in the Supersport 300 class. We've had so many riders over the season, Steve Martin, that have actually made their way up onto the podium. And Ollie Simpson, sitting all the way back in 14th place, is one rider that's made it onto the podium. Shows you how competitive this class is.
Well, they're readying themselves now, Phil, getting ready for that start. A good start important here.
Certainly is. None more so than for that man, Tom Bramich. Comes into this race with a 35-point lead over Zach Levy in the championship. He starts from the second row of the grid, and the championship can be decided in this race if he comes out the other side with a 25-point lead. We're in the starter's hands. The revs rise. 300 Supersport Championship on the line as we get underway. Great start from the front row of the grid. Ollie Bayliss has got a cracking start from second place, and he moves up alongside his rival in this battle for top three in the championship with Hunter Ford as they all go streaming down in towards turn one for the first time. Lockie Taylor's come from the second row of the front row of the grid and moves into first place.
And there's Tom Bramich as well. he's exactly where he needs to be. There's a few guys wide in the background. The pink bike there in the mid-pack is Taylor Ralph as well. Keep an eye on her. I'm sure that she'll be leading at some time. But up front, it's young Ollie Bayliss who's nipped up the inside through Suzuki corner as he heads out of the first sector of this first lap.
Yes, with a swarming pack of Yamaha R3 behind him. It's one of the only Ninja 300s at the front of the field is Ollie Bayliss on board that Cube Racing Kawasaki. And as they all come down in towards turn 4 for the first time, it's Maxi Stouffer up the inside. Seth Crump on board the KTM RC390 is strongly placed as well with a big dive-bombing run on the brakes to move up into third.
Yeah, Seth Crump has been improving all weekend. Remember, he's had his first wins this year in this class, so good to see him. He hasn't won here this weekend, but I'll tell you what, he's getting competitive with every kilometre he closes.
Not only has he had 2 wins, Steve Martin, he's also been on the podium 8 times, but currently leading, it is Ollie Bayliss around the outside. Well, they're neck and neck as they come through KTM corner. Speaking of KTMs, look at Seth Crump stranded high and right on the outside as they come across the top of Lukey Heights on board the KTM RC390 and going up the inside at Lukey Heights and down in towards turn 10 for the first leading opportunity of the race is Hunter Ford on bike number 20.
Yeah, he didn't waste any time getting towards the front, did Hunter Ford. But I'll tell you what, he's one of the bigger guys out there on these little 300s, and you can be assured that he will not be leading by the time he gets to turn 1.
There's Tom Bramich on board bike number 44. You mentioned 35-point championship lead, but he's nowhere near the lead of this race at the moment. In fact, he's just got, he's actually dragging Taylor Ralph forward as he makes use of the multiple bike slipstream down the front straight for the first time.
I'll tell you what he needs to do as they head into turn 1. Seth Crump right up there. He needs to... oh, and there's Taylor Ralph. Where did she come from? She was 10th a couple of minutes ago mid-pack. Now she's vying for the lead. What a great result for her. I'll tell you what, this is the most competitive that she has been all year.
Yep, she's up into 3rd place. We already saw her going well and was up into 3rd place with only a couple of corners to go in the R3 Cup earlier. But it is a 3-way drag race down towards Stoner Corner, the Kawasaki corner this weekend, with Seth Crump on board the KTM RC390, leading them with Hunter Ford, who's R3 mounted, and Taylor Ralph. Will she take the lead? Taylor Ralph down in towards turn 4. It is Taylor Ralph that leads for the first time this year on the way out towards Siberia, the YMF corner. Taylor Ralph on board bike number 28 leads from Seth Crump on board bike number 57 and Hunter Ford on 20.
You've got to love this class, don't you? It just mixes itself up all the time. You can never guarantee who's going to lead, and Taylor Ralph is a deserved leader at the moment, but I do not think she's going to pull away as the group gang up, and already around the outside goes number 57, Seth Crump.
Well, you can see there, that was the different motorcycle and probably different gearing choices, because unlike other classes, Steve Martin, that is a slipstreaming opportunity on the run from Siberia up through the Hayshed as Tom Bramich launches an assault for the lead.
That's where he needs to be. I spoke with Tom Bramich before the start of this race, and the thing that he told me was that if Zach Levy wins this race, all he has to do is finish 6th. Well, I'll tell you what, he's not thinking about that now. He's going for victory.
Now, I spoke to him earlier on the weekend, and he said if he wins races, the rest of it will sort itself out. That's exactly what he appears like he's doing at the moment. Oh, Ollie Bayliss looked like he got balked there and had to take a second bite of the cherry. He was also lucky to stay on the track right out onto the ripple strip as they came through turn 12, the Yamaha corner, for the second time. And as they come down to complete 2 laps, it is Tom Bramich that led them across the line. He gets punted wide by Seth Crump on board bike number 57.
Oh, we got a faller.
And one down, he's at bike number 10, Callum O'Brien, I think, that may have gone down on the entry into turn 1.
That is a big crash down there as well, but looks like there's plenty of runoff there, and Hill should be up and okay any tick of the clock.
Yep, that is Callum O'Brien dropping back through the field according to our copy time timing monitors. So Seth Crump leads from Ollie Bayliss. Well, that was half an intermediate ago, Braxy. Steve, the things would have all changed with Ollie Bayliss now taking the lead down in towards turn 4 from his good mate Seth Crump.
I don't make many mistakes, Phil, but I said it'd be a leading group of 10. It's a leading group of the whole field. They are all there. There is no one that's dropped off the back. This is incredible stuff.
Exactly what we've seen all year, and that's why we love the Supersport 300. There is a replay of Callum O'Brien going down. And there's no worry about that bike being close to the track. It went a long way into the gravel trap. As you mentioned, Steve Martin, whole field of Supersport 300 make their way up through KTM corner now. And to the top of the hill, it is Ollie Bayliss. on the Cube Racing Kawasaki. So we have the son of a 3-time Superbike World Champion leading from the son of a 3-time Speedway Grand Prix champion in Seth Crump in second place.
And they're good mates too out there. Actually, I think that Seth Crump actually got into it because of Ollie Bayliss. And, you know, I think Ollie thinks that that's the worst thing he ever could have done right now.
I think his quote was, I saw Ollie was having so much fun, I didn't want to miss out myself.
Well, he's certainly having fun at the moment. I'm not so sure about Ollie, though, but I'll tell you what, Ollie will be pretty happy to be in that position up near the front, remembering he's on the older 300 Kawasaki at the moment, a new 400 coming next year.
Well, as they make their way down the Yamaha Motor Finance straight in towards turn 1, has Ollie Bayliss managed to hold us? I was going to say, it's impossible to be leading out of turn 12 and down the straight and still be first going into turn 1 in this class. Ollie Bayliss has done a great job to only be relegated to second place, with Hunter Ford squeezing his way through on bike number 20 into the lead.
I'll tell you what, Taylor Ralph is holding some excellent mid-corner speed. She really does you know, haul back the group in the middle of the corners. She did a great job through the southern loop there. And look at her diving up the inside now as they head into that elusive YMI corner, turn 4. There's a million lines in here. Tommy Bramich wants to head back up towards the front, and there he is. Zach Levy in 6th at the moment, doing what he needs to do. He needs to finish in top of Tom Bramich.
Still at the front, it is Ollie Bayliss with Seth Crump. Tom Bramich is right there as well on board bike number 44 in third place. Hunter Ford on bike number 20 was leading 3 corners ago. Steve Martin is now back to fourth, or I think it was 5th position, with Harry Curry taking a big lunge around the outside or up the inside there, and Hunter Ford was able to have the better track position.
It's all about this track on these little 300s. There's a load of different lines. It's not like the Superbike where you have to be pinpoint accurate. These 300s, they've got a lot less power. What they can do is they need to use their brains a lot more, because it's the slipstreaming around this circuit that makes the biggest difference. You've got to put your bike in the right position at the right time to look at that slipstream as an example, to get in front of the guys using that slipstream.
Yeah, well, Harry Curry went straight up the inside of Hunter Ford as they came into turn 12. Hunter Ford simply just used the slipstream to go blasting back past Harry on board bike number 43 into the lead of that little group that would form as they went down the straight. Around through Suzuki corner turn 2, it was Tom Bramich trying to find his way through as well. He's come around the outside. I don't know if he's actually been able to hang on to the lead. No, it's Seth Crump that emerges from Suzuki corner turn 2 in the lead as they go 4 abreast through YMI corner and down in towards turn 4.
Seth Crump's got this one, but Tom Bramich tight up the inside. Hunter Ford's there too. Hunter Ford's off. Ollie Bayliss is off. In Honda corner, they won't be happy with that.
Ollie Bayliss and the man he's battling for third place in the championship with Hunter Ford, they're both off.
Wow. They didn't need that, did they? That'll take some quick calculation to figure out what that'll do to the championship.
It'll mean Seth Crump will be a whole lot closer to them, and we could have a 3-way battle for third place in the championship going into the final race this afternoon if Seth Crump, who currently leads the race, can score good points in this one.
Yeah, this is, well, he's in the prime position to do that at the moment, but as we've seen, just because you're leading the race now with a couple of laps to go doesn't mean you're going to be anywhere near it when you've got guys like Tommy Bramich, Lockie Taylor and Taylor Ralph still searching for that elusive first podium.
Well, the only thing she's thinking is there's 2 less people here as we see. Hunter Ford lost it. Ollie Bayliss had nowhere to go, and I think he actually ran over Hunter's arm as they came on the way out of turn 4 there. But unlike a couple of occasions this year where Hunter Ford has been involved in other people's accidents, that one was all his own doing.
Yeah, absolutely. He lost the front there, didn't he? And that was it, all over for 2 of them, skittled out of this race.
So as we go down the straight, 5 laps down of the 7-lap journey, it is Lockie Taylor that leads down in towards turn 1. Seth Crump pulls out of the slipstream. Tom Bramich comes around the outside and goes into the race lead with Seth Crump relegated to 2nd. And look who it is appearing right on cue. It is Zach Levy on board bike number 87. We've called him many times this year, Steve Martin. He's the master of the last lap muggings.
Yeah, well, he needs to do some mugging this time. A bit of shouldering going on there, saying hello, give me a little room. But Taylor Ralph swept up the inside, and Seth Crump right around the outside. What he's got to do now is he's got to go in really tight to the inside of the corner. He's got to try and stop people from diving up the inside, because people diving up the inside there can mean big risks.
Oh, we've got another one down. Not sure who that was. Is that that's Laura Brown on board bike 355. She's gone down at turn 4. Looks like she was up and A-OK. She's had a disastrous year with injury, Laura Brown.
But
and
what a
unfortunately,
ride.
her race has ended a fraction early.
What a ride to that point, though. We didn't mention Laura Brown, but she was having the ride of the year for her. She was an ex-lap record holder at this circuit a couple of years ago, and I tell you what, she's back on her A game.
So Maxi Stouffer, who was on pole position for this class at the last round at Winton Motor Raceway, has now taken the race lead on board bike number 127. So we had the son of a 4-time Australian champion leading the son of a 3-time World Grand Prix Speedway champion, and Harry Curry closing in closely from behind. Then he's had Steph Redmond, his rider coach, who's right on cue, giving him some tips there on board bike number 49.
Wow, Steph Redmond's having a good ride too, isn't she? And there you go, you can just see bang. Laura Brown's down and out, unfortunately for her, but what a race.
And I think Mitch Kuhn had to take the detour off track to try and avoid Laura as well as they come onto the straight to get the last lap board. There is 4.45 kilometres to go. It was Max Stouffer leading. He's just been swamped in the slipstream by Seth Crump, and looks like also too is that Harry Curry is also now up into a second position. Here comes Zach Levy on board bike number 87 as well. Will he have the inside run? No, it's Seth Crump that still leads through turn 2, the Suzuki corner on this final lap.
Zach Levy has to win this race if he doesn't want Tom Bramich to be the champion. He knows that that is what he has to do. He's in the perfect position to do it. He stayed out of trouble, and now he's got to make it count.
And Tom Bramich comes up the inside looking to move up a couple of further positions. He could wrap up the championship in this race, and he now tries to go down the inside. Zach Levy's front wheel was bouncing all around the place. Taylor Ralph is up to second position. Seth Crump, who was leading 2 corners ago, is now back to third place.
Zach Levy is exactly where he wants to be, but I'll tell you what, the pressure's not over yet. I don't think he's going to have anything that has stretched this apart, but he's actually made a bit of a gap at the moment. That could be enough.
Well, as they come up towards KTM corner at the hay shed, it is still Zach Levy that leads from Taylor Ralph. They're closing that lead group of 2 down. They had 3 bike lengths lead as they came out of Siberia. They've now got nothing as Tom Bramich goes up the inside of Taylor Ralph, relegating her to third position. She can use the slipstream though as they come round onto the straight, but Zach Levy is not going to win keep the championship battle alive with Tom Bramich sitting up in second place.
Look at Taylor Ralph. She wants second position. She's trying to dive up the inside there. She can't do it. Tom Bramich with everything to play for, and Zach Levy doing the best job he can. Taylor Ralph on for a podium. Let's hope she doesn't get sucked up by the ensuing pack behind her, but it's always going to be difficult from there. But Zach Levy, great corner speed heading onto that finish straight. He's heading down now. We're over the slipstream. Zach Levy takes it. Tom Bramich pulls out of the slipstream. Taylor Ralph gets a podium. Wow, what a race. I think that Bramich won the race and the championship.
So congratulations to Tom Bramich. He takes the race win. He takes the championship. Taylor Ralph scores her first podium of the season in her best race of the season. And Zach Levy, who led them round the final corner, Steve Martin, finishes in third position. Seth Crump, who led a majority of the race, finishes in fourth, and Maxi Stouffer finishes in fifth. Harry Curry, Lockie Taylor, Steph Redmond, all in that lead group. We're still not even more than 0.6 of a second back from the race win, and we're back to 8th position. Mitch Kuhn in 9th, Zane Ford only 0.7 of a second behind the race winner, rounds out the top 10.
I feel sorry for Luke Power, who finished 11th, 1.4 off of the win. I mean, what a close race. That was incredible stuff. But Tom Bramich, a deserved Australian champion. He won the Moto3 championship here a couple of years ago now the same way, but he also does it in style by winning the race. Tom Bramich takes the win from Taylor Ralph. What a great second place from her. Zach Levy, third. Seth Crump in fourth. Maxi Stouffer, good ride by him in fifth. And Harry Curry, sixth. Lockie Taylor, Steph Redmond, good start to the class for her. Mitch Kuhn and Zane Ford round out the top 10.
Yeah, Luke Power, as you mentioned, 1.0 seconds off the race win and not even in the top 10. Johnny Littress, John Quinn, Jack Cousins in 14th place. Peter Nerlich in 15th. Troy Ryan, Bronson Pickett, Jake Brett, Luke Johnson and Nicholas Clare.
We just had a race for Supersport 300, 1 to go. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, this is your champion for 2018, Tom Bramich. Tom, what is going through your head right now? Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, Emma. Like, I have no words. We came out with the plan at the start of the year, and to execute it, yeah, I'm so happy. Like, can't thank my team enough. Like, I wouldn't be here without them. Like, there's no question. Like, Trevor Manley, all year we've just been working. Like, we've done that much work off the track that when we come to the track, we're so ready to fight, and we only have one thing in mind. So, yeah, I'm super stoked. I couldn't be here without my sponsors, my parents, my girlfriend, all my mates. So, yeah, I'm so happy.
You looked so nervous this morning, and you were even asking Steve Martin for some advice yesterday. Do I go hard or do I play it safe?
Yeah, I had to think about it overnight, and I come to the conclusion that you can't play it safe, because if you hesitate, that's time for someone else to pass you. And in our class, it's all about attacking and trying to get to the front. Otherwise, you're just going to get sucked back in the group. So, yeah, I'm super happy, and I can't thank everyone enough.
Tom Bramich, what a year. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion for 2018, Tom Bramich. And from one happy man to one very happy lady. Ladies and gentlemen, Taylor Ralph, her first podium for 2018. We knew you were going to get there.
Yeah, it only took me about 12 months to do it, but we finally got there. We've been saying all year that we have the pace to be at the front, so I can't thank Mum and Dad enough, and all the sponsors who have helped me out, in between. So we finally did it.
Well done, Taylor. Congratulations. Good luck for the next one.
Thank you.
And in third position for today, and a fantastic season. Still one race to go, Zach Levy. Well done.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations to Tommy. His team's worked tirelessly all year, and their setup they've had is a great package, and we haven't been able to pin it down this year. But I'm having a good crack this weekend, and I seem to be a bit faster than the boys through the hay shed, and I just can't help but lead onto the straight, and it's just not working.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
There you go, boys. Wow, what a race. Always epic in this class. Tom Bramich, the champion.
Thanks very much, Emma. Great to hear from our top three. Well, let's have a look at the highlights now from the final Supersport 300 race of the season. A season with so many highlights and a race with so many highlights, Steve Martin. It was a great start from all of the riders on the front row of the grid, but unfortunately, we saw bike number 96 crashing out early. Jake Brett, unfortunately, his season ended a fraction early. But there was a massive group of riders, 14 at one stage, that were covered by 1.1 seconds, battling for the lead.
And how close were they? Taylor Ralph was trying to back up her podium from early on today, but she was battling near the front. Seth Crump went up the inside and then missed a few gears, had to get it back into the gears. We thought at that time his race was over, but it was only a lap or so later, or a couple of corners later, and he was back out in front. Tom Bramich made his way through. That was a brave little pass by him too, as they headed into the Siberia corner.
Yeah, Tom Bramich took the championship in race number 2 and was keen to get up there and take the final race win of the season. But on the last corner, a couple of riders, Steph Redmond on the left, Maxi Stouffer on the right, across through the gravel trap. They both managed to finish, but as they came to the line, we had a massive battle. Ollie Bayliss, Seth Crump, Lockie Taylor all led at one stage, but in the end it was Lockie Taylor that took the win by 0.057 of a second over Ollie Bayliss and Seth Crump in the final podium of the Supersport 300 class in 2018.
Well, here we have the Australian Supersport 300 Championship points with Tom Bramich on 418 points, Zach Levy with 379, Hunter Ford 336, Ollie Bayliss 325, fifth was Seth Crump on 295, Lockie Taylor took out his position there in sixth at 293, Harry Curry and Taylor Ralph a tie there with 267 points apiece, and Maxi Stouffer, what a year he had at 232. Travis Hall, 158.
Speaking of raising the levels, in 2018, a lot of those riders will be back in the Superbike Championship, but the young rookies will also have a championship with a great new initiative from Motorcycling Australia.
Another fabulous day in pit lane here at Phillip Island. I'm lucky enough to have next to me Martin Port, the operations director at MA, and you've got some very exciting news to fill us in with.
Yeah, look, we've got an exciting project. It's the Oceania Rookies Cup. It's actually a road race academy for junior road racers. It's for kids aged 11 to under 16. We launched the actual registrations of interest a few weeks ago, and the take-up's been absolutely fantastic. It's definitely going to be a game changer for the sport.
Well, you've got all the riders that are willing to join up and come and try out, but I mean, how does it work logistically? I mean, it's a big puzzle to put together.
Yeah, look, it's been a project we've been working on for over 2 years, and it's finally starting to come to fruition, which is fantastic. Basically, what it involves, it's an initial outlay of $7,750, and what it actually does, it gets you your bike, your helmet, your boots, your gloves, your leathers, your tyres, your entry fee, fuel. Pit garages. It also gets you transportation of the bike, mechanical support. We're even going to have coaching from a riding skills perspective. And I'm even talking to Steve here about actually doing some media training for the kids as well. We want to give the perfect platform for the juniors to not only learn how to race, but also how to understand the sport from a whole, from the ground up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a first for Australia.
Oh, absolutely. And even on a global sense, what's new is we're definitely coming in with an academy that is much younger than anybody else is doing. We're about 2 years younger than any of the other rookies or Asia Talent Cups or British Talent Cups that are taking place. So it gives our young kids the opportunity to not only develop and then be prepared for those opportunities that may present themselves overseas.
So if they want to get involved at home, what do the guys got to do to contact you?
Well, it's very, very easy. So go to the asbk.com.au website, register your interest. Registrations are open until October 31st. We're already oversubscribed, but that's all right. We've got some selection programs in play. We've got a lot of interesting names coming through the program so far. But get your registrations in. We'll go through that, and then we'll contact you in relation to a selection program, and then exactly what the next steps will be after that. But the championship, the way we'll work, we'll kick off here at Phillip Island, beautiful Phillip Island, at the official ASBK test in February, and then the championship will include 5 rounds of the ASBK and 1 standalone round.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. The Oceania Rookies Cup, you better be part of that. Valentino Rossi, Casey Stoner and Mick Doohan have all said that this piece of real estate is one of the most electrifying on earth. Phillip Island has long been the mecca of motorsport, and this weekend our ASBK riders get their chance at glory. But putting that perfect lap together takes big commitment. Today, I want to show you some of the key points that it takes to get right to just get that perfect lap, starting here at turn 1, Motul Corner. But it doesn't start here, it starts way back there up the straight. Believe you me, you're tucked in behind the screen doing speeds of over 300 kilometres an hour as you head into that braking zone, hard on the brakes. Watch out for lots of overtaking there. It's cambered here, really cambered in the middle of the corner, over 200 kilometres an hour. You need to be pinpoint accurate if you want to get it right. And this is definitely a spot that can make or break a lap time. Who would have thought that turn 4, YMI corner, the second tightest corner on this circuit, could create so much havoc? Braking in here is incredible. There's so many overtaking moves to be had, but you've got to keep that mid-corner speed up and get the great drive out as you head up into YMF. You'll see the bikes dance as they head out of Siberia, moving around all over the place and heading into the Hayshed corner. 200 plus k's an hour, high speed action with the front moving. It's all about setting yourself up into this corner here, Lukey Heights. You'll see overtaking manoeuvres right here behind us. We saw Brian Starring do that last year. It's not all about the entry though, because the bikes are always jostling for position up over the blind crest here behind me to try and get that perfect entry into the tight Pirelli corner below. You know you're riding well if you head through turn 12 with both wheels drifting, heading out towards the ripple strip, tucked in behind the screen, heading towards that finish line to get either your PB or a race win. And this is the sweetest race win of the year because it's a long summer ahead.
Welcome back to Phillip Island and the final round of the 2018 Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motul Pirelli. We are getting ready for the second and final Supersport 600 race of the season. Let's go down to the grid with Emma.
Crew Halliday, I've interviewed you so many times this year. I just don't know what else is left to say. Clear track ahead of you yet again at another pole position.
Yeah, thanks, Emma. It's, hopefully I can get away a lot cleaner this time. You know, there's a bit of controversy down the first straight, which is definitely not what you want. But and, you know, hopefully I can get off to a cleaner start. And you know, I want to clear out, but this is the type of track you just can't do that. So you know, slipstream is a major thing here, and Tommy will be biting your heels. If not, I'll be biting his the whole way around.
Hey, I know we said what happens in Melbourne stays in Melbourne, but we all want to know how you celebrated after winning the championship in Winton. As
I said, I can't go saying that. You know, it's got to keep it PG rated for the kids out there. But yeah, we did party after that, and it's good to have the championship off my back and run a number one plate this weekend.
And lots of fun tonight too. Thanks, crew. Boys, cannot wait for tonight. It is our champions dinner.
Congratulations to Crew Halliday and the Yamaha Racing team for that championship win, which, as we know, they wrapped up at the last round. But it is going to be a hectic race here Let's just quickly talk about race one of the weekend and the start, Steve Martin. Bit of controversy, Crew Halliday said. I think a bit more than that. There was a couple of controversial moments in that race.
There certainly was, but the main one was 3 or 4 bikes coming together on the start line, and Crew, I don't know how he saved it. He managed to hang on, but his legs and feet were off all over the place. Let's head down to M.
Tom Bramich, a big crash in that last race. Great to see you're A-OK. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, unfortunate end to the race. Obviously, I'm sitting in a good position and quite comfortable, and yeah, it's just I was sort of weird at the start of the race with the incident with Crew and all that. But yeah, for me, getting taken out when it's out of my control. There's nothing else I could have done to try and save it. But yeah, I don't know. My mechanics Marty and Ricky, and also my dad and my brother have done a good job to hopefully get the bike back together and relatively straight. So. See what we have in this one, and last race of the season, let's hope that we can do something half decent.
Go get him.
Cheers.
Well, how do you make a highlights reel of that? It's pretty much every lap of the first half of the race. As the riders got off the line, Crew Halliday and Max Croker had that incident. Max Croker ended up taking the lead. Crew Halliday had to get back on board his machine. We thought that may have been the race-winning overtake from Tom Bramich, and he was going to pull away into the distance, but Max Croker has nothing about it. He was fighting hard. You could see there, Tom Bramich would get the run down into Motul corner, and coming back at Suzuki corner would be the 41 machine of Max Croker. Bramich back up the inside. Then as they came down into that corner a couple of laps later, it all went pear-shaped for the riders that had been going so hard at it just prior to that incident.
The front three at this point knew that they had a big gap, but then this happened as they headed in. It all went wrong for Max in the background. He tapped the man in front there, Tom Bramich. He went flying through the air. Max ran off and lost his good position as well. They crashed themselves both out of the podium there, and Crew Halliday at that point said, you know what, thank you very much guys, a bit of luck's gone my way, and I'm going to come over the line. I've got the lead, and there he was, he took the win. Crew Halliday for the win in the first race here in the Kawasaki Supersport.
But if the first race is anything to go by, he was absolute lightning off the start. I don't think he's going to be penalised all that much by the time they head down in towards turn one.
Well, we heard Crew Halliday talking about the slipstream effect here at Phillip Island. We saw it firsthand a couple of minutes ago in the 300 class. So, yeah, I'm sure that if he gets a good start, he'll be up there. Keep an eye on the man on the number 20 machine, CBR 600 as well. Damon Rees from New Zealand. What a run he's having, qualifying on the front row of the grid there. An excellent ride from him this weekend. He's already had podiums in this championship. The CBR seems to be working well for him around this circuit, so he is also on a roll.
And there's also only 13 points separating Max Croker in third place in the championship and Damon Rees in fourth, heading into this final race. 25 points up for grabs for the race win, but the battle for the final place on the podium is well and truly on.
Yeah, it certainly is, and for sure the championship might have been won from the man on pole, but I tell you what, this is going to be a very interesting race.
Crew Halliday has won every race since the first race of round two, and he's sitting on pole position. Emma spoke to him before. Let's go back to an update before the race gets underway from Emma.
Yeah, guys, we heard Tom Bramich talk about that big crash he was involved in race one. That bike is back together, but I spoke to them before. They've replaced the foot peg, the clutch lever, the handlebars, the engine cover, the tank, just to name a few. Mechanic Marty worked his magic today.
He's done a fantastic job all year. I actually got a message from Tom's dad. They have been through 7 tanks in the 2018 season. They just can't seem to take a trick when it comes to keeping the bike undamaged.
Sort of rolls off the tongue, Marty's magic. I like it. And you need a man like him in your pit box, especially when you've got to turn these bikes around.
Well, he's won plenty of Supersport 600 championships as a crew chief, and mechanic has Marty down. And the man on screen at the moment, Scott Nicholson on board bike number 39, Steve Martin. That ride in the first race was his best of the season. And he also starts from a pretty good grid position as well. But Crew Halliday, Tom Bramich and Damon Rees will start from the front row of the grid, with Callum Spriggs, Nick Limington and Jack Passfield making up row 2 because Max Croker penalised back to row 3.
Yeah, good to see Max Croker starting on row 3 with Scotty Nicholson there and Zach Johnson out of 9th from that row 3. Row 4 is Dylan Whiteside. Brock Pearson, of course. Giuseppe Scarcella having a quiet weekend. Aidan Hayes back in the championship. Respelling there from row 5 as well as Ryan Taylor, Victorian champion. Campbell Russell, Ty Lynch and John Quinn round out row 6.
Yeah, with Dallas Skier, Mark Wilson and Brodie Maloof rounding out the 21 bike field for the final race of the Kawasaki Supersport season. Tom Taparis not only has wrapped up second place in the championship, but also is trying to make it 4 race wins in this final race as well, Steve, after taking the, convincing race win at all of the 3 races at the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. He wants to get another win. It's been all Crew Halliday up to this point since then. And boy, somebody's got to take it to him. He's riding impeccably. The bike is perfect. But let's see what can happen.
Well, here's one of the crashes from Tom Taparis this year. Unfortunately, it was in race 1 here this weekend. Max Croker, you can see, got his leg caught in the back of Tom's machine. The bike went down. That was what caused the incident that caused Marty Dowd to have to weave his magic on the motorcycle. And you can see Tom Taparis had his hands in the air wondering what had happened before he even stopped tumbling.
Yeah, that's the sort of racing that happens here at Phillip Island. Max Croker, as you said, docked back 2 places, but this is a new race. Race 2 here of Kawasaki Supersport about to get underway.
Final race of the season for the Kawasaki Supersport Championship. Crew Halliday starts from pole position, gets a great start as the lights go out. Tom Taparis also gets a great start. Keep our eye on Max Croker on the Matt Malone Motorsport Suzuki. He started from row 3. He's coming down the outside. He's already passed Crew Halliday, and he will lead them into turn 1. Max Croker on board the Suzuki gets a great start despite being penalised 2 grid positions. And Tom Taparis up into second. Damon Rees has also got away to a great start, and he's in 4th place.
And there's Tom Taparis right up there in second position, right behind Maxi Croker. It looks like you don't want to make Maxi Croker mad because he gets his arms out and gets going, doesn't he?
Oh, that's an absolutely unbelievable start. Well, actually, no, it's quite believable because we've seen him do it plenty of times this year, and he will lead the field down in towards turn 4 on this first occasion. Crew Halliday back to 3rd place. Is that Jack Passfield on board bike number 42, the black Yamaha R6 that's got a great start as well, and he's sitting in about 5th or 6th position, right up there with Callum Spriggs.
Of course, Callum Spriggs already been on the podium earlier today. He's one to watch. He can work his way through as soon as he breaks into it, warms those tyres up as they head through the back section of the circuit here through KTM and up into Lukey Heights. It's all Max Croker at the moment. A bit of history between these two guys. We saw it. And Tom Taparis straight up the inside, not wasting any time.
Well, Taparis takes the race lead. Crew Halliday has a look up the inside of Max Croker. So Max Croker's gone from 1st place back to 3rd in the space of 1.5 corners as they make their way around through the top of the circuit now. You can see Crew Halliday body language trying to get the most advantage out of the slipstream as he can, coming around through the top end of the circuit and down on the YMF straight for the first time.
Callum Spriggs is making his way through the field too. I just saw him in 3rd position there, having a bit of a battle with Max Croker, so he's on a bit of a charge as well. Maxi Croker is back in front now, but Callum Spriggs there right behind him.
Well, it is these 2 race leaders that have now, they've gone head-to-head in pretty much every race so far this season. Tom Taparis, as we mentioned, took the first 3 race wins of the championship. Crew Halliday has won every race since to be crowned a champion early at the last race. They both so desperately want to end the season on a high. Max Croker also took his first race win of the season at the last round at Winton Motor Raceway.
Big black mark there from the back of Tom Taparis' bike. Late on the brakes, takes back that 2nd position. Maxi Croker was next to him in the corner before KTM curve. But they head out now into Siberia, and it looks like the man in front, Crew Halliday, is doing... Oh, Crew Halliday's run a little bit wide there and let the field catch back up. I was about to say he does what he does best, which is get out in front and take off, but that wasn't the case this time round.
Jack Passfield is having another good ride as well, up into 4th place on board bike number 42. There's a replay of the move by Tom Taparis around through the top of Lukey Heights, the YMI corner, as it's known this weekend. There was literally no room to squeeze a Kawasaki ZX6 through there.
No, well, they're thinner than you think, Phil. I'll tell you what, he made a great move there. And remember, there's no love lost between those 2 guys at the moment.
So there's no love lost between the top 3 in the championship. Max Croker was involved in that incident with both Crew Halliday and Tom Taparis in race number 1, causing Crew Halliday to be pushed off his motorcycle.
Excommunicated is a good word for that.
I was just trying to think of a way to describe how he got ejected from the bike, and Tom Taparis ejected from the race at turn 4.
He basically crashed without crashing, didn't he? Look at Jack Passfield. He's doing a great job at hanging in there in 4th position, though. I know that you mentioned him earlier on, and I mean, he's not that experienced. He's probably the least experienced 600 rider out of the bunch behind us here. So, you know, it's a big learning. Big moment there from Tom Taparis. Rear wheel slide as they head into that YMI fast curve and into the turn 4 here. big braking opportunities there. Damon Rees didn't get a good start on his CBR 600. I thought that he would be further up the field, but for one reason or another, perhaps they've gone the wrong way with the setup. Just doesn't seem to be working for him. We've got a faller. Is that Halliday?
It's Crew Halliday. Crew Halliday's down on the exit of Siberia. Had his hands in the air. I don't think he knows what quite happened there, but he was, I don't think that was anyone else involved in that. That was just an incident, a race incident, as does happen when you're pushing as hard as these guys do, which now leaves Tom Bramich and Max Croker to try and fight out the lead. But you're just mentioning Jack Passfield. Jack Passfield has finished the last 3 races inside the top 10, his first top 10s of the season.
That's pretty impressive stuff, isn't it? It seems to be the way in road racing that when you start to find your mojo, it comes rather quickly, and in Jack Passfield's case, it's come just in time for the last round of 2018, and he is doing a great job sitting there. But what a big moment. Crew Halliday crashed out at turn 6. It was...
Let's have a look at the crash now, the first crash of the year for the reigning champion, as he comes out of Siberia and made his way up towards the hay shed. He just lost it, looked like the back end.
I think the back has come round on him. I think he's cut slightly tight over the ripple strip with full lean angle on the gas, and I mean, he's that confident. He's asking so much of that bike now. The rear's spun round on him. I think it could have been a high side, but I think it low-sided him around in the circle, looking by the angle and everything that he finished up. So anyway, he unceremoniously has to walk back to the pits. I don't think the team would be too unhappy. It's a pretty good year either way.
Yep, his first race crash of the year for Crew Halliday, has already wrapped up the championship, so no harm, no foul. What we have got now, Tom Bramich looking for his 4th race win of the year, Max Croker looking for his 2nd.
Well, you sort of said at the start that that's what he was looking for. I was subconsciously thinking, well, you know what, it's pretty unlikely it's going to happen, but it's looking pretty possible at the moment, isn't it?
Well, the way these two riders have been riding this weekend, you'd be a game man to put a bet on either of them at this stage of the race. We're coming up to complete 4 laps. We're not even half race distance yet. Steve Martin, time for an update from Emma down in the pits.
Glenn McMahon, if you're going to crash out, your only crash of the year, you're going to do it after you've won the championship.
Yeah, I guess it's never a good time to crash, but you know, thankfully we already wrapped the championship up. So, and he was probably trying to get away from the crazy guys behind him. So, anyway, he's all right. That's the main thing, and you know, championship's in the bag. So, unfortunately, it'd be nice to win the whole round, but it's the way it goes in racing sometimes.
Congratulations for this year.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, great to hear from Glenn McMahon, who's been Crew Halliday's long-time crew chief. I think he was there for his first Australian championship, and he's there for his championship in 2018. Pretty sure that probably won't be Crew Halliday's last.
No, I've got a feeling that you might be right there, Phil. Saw a shot of Nick Limington there too. He's back in the fray and making his way forward. There he is on the LDA machine as he heads out of the Southern Loop, Kawasaki corner there this weekend, and tucked in behind the screen, of course, he's having a good little ride there. Jack Passfeld's behind him now, so Nick Limington, boy, what a charge he's put on. He's come from nowhere.
Well, we mentioned it earlier on too. Nick Limington was so good at the first couple of rounds. Then he had a cancer scare. Steve Martin was unable to come to a couple of rounds. What do you do as soon as you recover from cancer? You get back on your bike and you come racing again, and he's been back on the pace at the last round at Winton. It's great to see him back in the championship, and a strong ride once again.
Well, he's actually been riding faster and better, in my opinion. So, you know, like sometimes a little bit of time off the bike lets you contemplate things, and he's had a lot to contemplate, but he's back, he's healthy, and he's fast.
Down into Pirelli corner, turn 10. It is Tom Bramich that leads from Max Croker. Damon Rees is holding down a pretty lonely 3rd place. And then we have this 4-bike battle. 3 Yamaha YZF R6s, and then the Next Gen Motorsport Suzuki GSX-R, the bike that won the championship in 2017, this year being ridden by Scott Nicholson, a graduate from the Supersport 300 class.
Gee, I'll tell you what, just having a quick look at the times, if we look at Scott Nicholson zip through, great riding by him at the moment, but Tom Bramich is on a roll at the moment. He's just lapping low 36, 36.3, 36.4, 36.2. He's really putting the hammer down and starting to make a little bit of a gap over Max Croker. If he can keep that up, I don't think Max Croker is going to be able to have a gap, but look at the gaggle of riders here. Jack Passfeld is not giving up. He's gone back past Nick Limington. Callum Spriggs, who's a lot more experienced, you would say, is in the fray there too, with Scotty Nicholson having one of the best rides of his career.
Yeah, Callum Spriggs is the most experienced rider in that 4-bike group. In actual fact, with Crew Halliday out of the field, it's probably only Ryan Taylor that would have more experience. Limington up the inside. Jack Passfield got putted wide. He's lost 3 positions. He's gone to the back of that 4-rider group that are battling it out for positions 4th, 5th, all the way back through to 7th place.
If you want to see spectacular, you do have to watch Nick Limington as he enters corners under the brakes. He's notoriously always sideways on the way in. It is, it's art. It's good to watch. Probably not the fastest way. He needs to fix that problem, but at the moment, I'm enjoying watching it.
Man that has been doing a little bit of sideways action so far this year is Tom Bramich. He currently leads the race. Update time from Emma.
Matt Mladen, what a fantastic job Max is doing at the moment, sitting in 2nd after not the best first race.
Yeah, you know, we got penalised there, but probably best off not asking me about what I think about the whole thing, so a bit of a joke, really.
Fantastic, yeah, well done.
Yep, thanks.
Callum Spriggs now takes that 4th position as they head down into Motul Corner.
Yeah, Scotty Nicholson's up into 5th place as well. I think if he can finish in that place, that would be his best place. Best place in
equal.
Equal.
I think he got 5th.
Actually, no, he got 4th in the first race.
Okay, well, he's got a little bit of work to do then if he wants to equal his best result.
It has been a fantastic weekend for the Next Gen Motorsport team, with Ted Collins getting good results in Superbike, along with Glenn Allerton coming back from injury, and also Scott Nicholson in Supersport. That's the 4-bike battle that we're talking about right there, with them making their way out towards Siberia at the moment. It is, well, if anything, trying to go with Callum Spriggs, who's looking like he's trying to make a little bit of a break on this group that's been so packed, or so tightly packed over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, back out front, that gap now is out to 1.5 seconds. 36, mid-36s is still the pace set by Tom Bramich. Maxi Croker, a 37 flat last time round, so he's starting to struggle a little bit with, I would say, just a little bit of rear grip. Nick Limington up the inside there, once again, takes back that position, sits behind Scott Nicholson now.
Just having a look at the lap times, on the last lap, Damon Rees in 3rd place was 0.2 of a second faster than Max Croker in 2nd. We'll keep our eye on the timing monitor as they come round to complete 7 laps of the 10-lap journey. There's Giuseppe Scarcella having a good battle with Brock Pearson for 8th and 9th position, with Zach Johnson finding himself once again inside the top 10 on board bike number 22.
Yeah, it's good to see Brock Pearson having a reasonable round. He's probably not where he wants to be, but I've been having a bit of a look of him in the paddock, and you know, those injuries, the back injuries that he received earlier on this year, just see him stretching and moving around. Perhaps he's still recovering from that, I think.
Passfield just went up the inside of Nick Limington to repay the favour. These guys are chopping and changing positions. Scotty Nicholson is up to 4th place in that group now, leading the 4-bike battle as they come round down through the Kawasaki corner and into the YMI turn 4.
And he manages to hold it too. Nick Limington sits at the back, Callum Spriggs there. I'll tell you what, it's pretty impressive that those 3 youngsters are able to stay with Callum Spriggs, isn't it?
It is, and Callum Spriggs has been riding incredibly well since he made his way back after having that shoulder injury that required an operation last year, and retired from the Superbike season halfway through the year. And he's back on the Supersport bike. He's got a lot of confidence back, and as you mentioned before, Steve Martin, probably riding as good as we've ever seen him.
And you know what? Good to come back to the 600 class too, because there's a lot less effort needed to ride these compared to the Superbikes, which means it just gives that shoulder a little bit extra time. Nick Limington up the inside in Pirelli corner. Good move there, and he makes it stick too. With only a couple of laps left to go now, it's time if you want to get to that 4th position, which it's not a podium, but I'll tell you what, if something goes wrong up ahead, that very well could be a podium.
Well, the battle for the podium is heating up, because Damon Rees has actually just done his fastest lap of the race on the last lap. He's dropped back now into the low 37s and was still 0.2 of a second faster than Max Croker, and the gap now is down to just over a second. Another update from Emma.
Richie Paris, wow, Tommy really knows how to bounce back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's doing really well after this morning's race. He was unlucky this morning, but he's really bounced back well. And big thanks to Marty for getting him back out on the track and giving him a bit of confidence for this afternoon's race.
We've really enjoyed talking to you this year. Thanks, Richie.
Thank you.
That was Richard Taparis, Tom Taparis, our current race leader's dad, and he has been by his side at all of the rounds so far this year. And he's been a very busy man working with Marty to get the bike prepared, and to finish the season off with a win will be a great way to reward those guys that have put in such a big effort and a deserved second place in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. He's riding an absolute brilliant race now. Last time round, another mid-36. He is demolishing the rest of the field at the moment. He's got the pace. I reckon they found something. I think it's unfortunate for him that Crew Halliday did have that crash, because I reckon he would have taken it to him anyway.
And he will be happy with the race win, Tom Taparis. He would have loved to have taken the race win with Crew Halliday on track.
Absolutely. It's always better that way. Now we'll never know. We won't know until next year, will we? There he is.
Round through the final corner to come round and get the last lap board. There it is, last lap board for Tom Taparis' 2018 season. Second place in the championship in his first, full season in the Supersport class.
Pretty impressive. Look at him. There's nothing but clear air behind. A 3-second gap now back to Maxi Croker on the Suzuki, the Matt Mladen Suzuki, and he knows it. He's not going to make a mistake. He's going to finish the year the same way he started off. He started off with a win, and if he can just get this last half a lap together, Phil, it'll be finishing with a win too.
Just having a look back there in the battle for the podium in the overall championship. I think that Max Croker has done enough now that Damon Rees can't quite get there, because he needs to be a lot more than just one place ahead of him on track to haul back those points.
Look at Damon Rees,
but
though.
Damon Rees is looking to finish the year on a high. He desperately wants that second place. Nick Leamington, you mentioned about sliding it in. He slid in so much that Jack Passfield had to take evasive action.
That's 2 times he's done that now. There'll be a bit of discussion going on after the race between those two guys, I'd say. But I'll tell you what, we want to see what's happening with Damon Rees, because I reckon that Damon is right there. Keep an eye on this battle for second position on track at the moment. Damon's going to overlook up the inside. He's dived up the inside. He can't quite do it. I don't think that Max Croker knows he's there.
Well, down in towards turn 10, he's going to be a big overtaking opportunity for Damon Rees, the former New Zealand Supersport champion. Can't quite get past, but he will be in prime position for the slipstream as they come round through the final corners.
Absolutely. He's got to time this perfectly. If Maxi Croker, you can see the rear wheel there of Max sliding around. If Damon Rees has got good mid-corner speed here, he can slipstream him over the line. The Suzuki's fast. Max has got good drive, but Damon's pulled out of the slipstream. He's in there. And Tom Taparis wins the race. Who will get second as we come over the line? It is Maxi.
Yeah, Max Croker just got it by 5/100ths of a second over Damon Rees on the run to the line. Nick Leamington will come round and secure 4th position, just ahead of Scotty Nicholson, who rounds out a fantastic weekend for him with 4th and 5th positions. But our final Kawasaki Supersport race winner for 2018 is Tom Taparis.
Good to see the handshake between the two guys that had that altercation in race 1-2. Tom Taparis takes the win and manages to give Maxi Croker a bit of a handshake too. So good to see. And a nice little wheelie for Tommy. He's got to be a happy man.
He is a very happy man, and I think his body language indicates that he's happy to have the season come to an end, and also a number 1 next to his name. I think you will find, though, that the round winner is going to be a very interesting calculation, because Crew Halliday won the first race. Max Croker didn't score a lot of points. He has scored some in this. I think the man that's probably going to be the most consistent could very well be Damon Rees.
Absolutely.
But confirmations of your results: a 3.7 second win to Tom Taparis over Max Croker, and 5/100ths of a second between Croker and Damon Rees for that final place on the for the 2nd and 3rd places on the podium. Nick Leamington in 4th, Scott Nicholson in 5th, Callum Spriggs in 6th, Giuseppe Scarcella up to 7th. A good result for him considering how his weekend started. Steve Martin, Brock Pearson, Zach Johnson and Ryan Taylor rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Jack Passfield, what a race he had. He ran wide, and that was probably took him out of the top places. Aidan Hayes there in 12th, Dylan Whiteside in 13th, Reece Belling, Ty Lynch, Dallas Skier, good ride from him as well, Campbell Russell, John Quinn, Mark Wilson and Brodie Malouf. 6 laps down, of course, he didn't finish the race. But that's the man, Tommy Taparis. You've got to say that he's happy with that. There's Marty Dowd in the background too.
Marty the Magician.
Marty the Magician, Magic Marty, is what we'll know him as from now on.
Let's have a look at some highlights of the final Kawasaki Supersport race for the 2018 season. It was a great start from Tom Taparis and Damon Rees from the front row of the grid, but Max Croker, who started from row 3 after that 2 grid position penalty, led them through turn 1.
Absolutely, never make him mad, will you? But meanwhile, Tom Taparis got up front, but then this happened. Crew Halliday went down. How lucky was he to get off the track there? But what was almost a perfect year destroyed in one moment.
Nick Leamington was sideways into that corner every lap, and unfortunately on that lap he was a little bit too sideways and knocking Jack Passfield back a couple of positions. But then it happened again a few laps later, knocking him even further off track, and Passfield went out of that battle and was lucky to make it to the finish, eventually finishing in 11th place.
But Tom Taparis was saying, where is everybody else? Because they were miles behind, but he is our winner, and there was even a little handshake between those two guys after the altercation they had in race one. Good to see. And what way to celebrate better than that? A nice little wheelie.
Fourth race win for Tom Taparis for the year, and rounds it out with a good result for his people he's been battling with all year, with Max Croker and also Damon Rees. Drew Halliday so far ahead in the championship. He'd wrapped it up at the last round, but he eventually ends up winning the championship on 361 points over Tom Taparis on 308. Croker getting the better of Damon Rees for that battle for the last place on the overall Supersport Championship podium. Let's go down to the podium. We'll hear from our top three. There with Emma.
Damon Rees, have a look at the smile on your face. What a day for you, 2 podiums, and you've also won the round. Well done.
Oh, thanks. I mean, that was a surprise winning the overall, but double podium last round, and I gave it my all in that last race to get Max, but just come up short. But what an awesome race. I just had so much fun, and I think I laid it all on the line with those last few laps, and I'm really glad to just be on the podium. It's awesome.
Well done, Dame.
Thank you.
And Max Croker finishing in 2nd position and also finishing 3rd in the championship. That was a fantastic battle down to the wire for the championship. Well done, great season.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a fantastic season for us. That race then, that was hard. We didn't have the pace that we had this morning, but yeah, Tommy had great pace. I'm just really sorry to what happened to him in this morning's race, but you know, that happens sometimes, and yeah, now we're on to a Superbike, so I'm really looking forward to that, and thanks to my team for all their hard work. You know, they've been fantastic all year, and yeah, just thanks to everyone that's helped me. Thank you.
Thanks, Max. Well done.
Thank you.
And in 1st position, bouncing back, well done, Tom Taparis, your first win since the first round back here. You love this track, don't you?
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Yeah, hopefully you don't think that I'm only good here, because you know we tried at every track this year and we were not too bad at every track. So yeah, of course it's good to get a win to finish off the season. Unlucky for Crew. You know, it was sort of a weird crash and unexpected, but I think we would have had a good race if that didn't happen. But anyway, good job to the other guys. Good job to Damo getting the overall, and can't really thank my family and my team enough. It's been a hard year, but yeah, we've learned so much and improved every round. So massive thank you to those guys.
Thanks, Tom. Boys?
Well, we haven't seen Glenn Allen at a racetrack in an official capacity for a while. He's been here commentating, he's been doing all sorts of other stuff. He's been riding the HP4 race BMW just recently, but he hasn't been racing because 3.5 months ago he had that terrible motocross accident. But he's back, he's on a bike, he's here at Phillip Island. And how are you enjoying yourself? It must be great to be back.
Yeah, it's a buzz. We just done qualifying just then, and yeah, there's nothing like the buzz of riding, a proper superbike around this track at a race with some grip in the back of it. And I missed it. It's 3.5 months off the bike. It wasn't great, but yeah, I'm actually in a better place now than I was before. I got a chance to do some healing and work on some little niggling injuries with my hips and my back. So yeah, I'm in a good place right now and really just enjoying riding the bike.
Do you think that time off, it's healed your body, but I mean, like, you're riding better than ever right now?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, as you know yourself, as you get older, you get smarter and wiser about the things that you're doing. So, yeah, I feel like my riding has actually come on a little bit more. I'm working on my strength, which isn't too bad, but I'm really looking forward to racing the guys. The adrenaline rush and the buzz of racing is something that it's really hard to replace with anything else, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, Phillip Island is a place that I know Glenn rides at very well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the races ahead. Winton was a special weekend for everybody, but for one particular guy, Troy Herfoss, it was a weekend that he'll remember forever. Of course, he won the Australian Superbike Championship with 1 round to spare. Let's catch up with Troy and see what it's like to be champion.
Massive surprise to win the championship with a round to go, but everything's come together for us this year, and I'm just rapt to have my 2nd championship in the bag. I've been sitting by the phone waiting for the World Superbike teams to call, but it hasn't happened yet, so we're just going to get through this weekend. And no, seriously, I've been just enjoying it. A bit of push bike riding and racing, and it's a funny situation, really. It's been probably the most competitive year of any I've had, and although I won by a long way, every race was very close and hard fought. But now it's just about getting ready for next year, and A lot of people say that I struggle here at Phillip Island, so I really want to prove them wrong. We'll be starting next year fully focused and ready to go, and it's a big goal and a dream of mine to be able to defend the championship.
Welcome back to Phillip Island. We are getting ready for the second and final YMI Superbike race for the weekend and the final one for the season, Steve Martin. And I think Troy Herfoss summed it up when he said that it's been the most competitive season for such a long time, and it was a bit of a surprise to everybody that he was able to emerge victorious at every round of the championship, bar the first round here at Phillip Island, where Brian Starring was the round winner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Team Honda, the Penrite Honda team, did a fabulous job throughout the year. They did all the hard work early, and that is the easiest way to win a championship, to leave yourself a little bit of room at the back end of the year. And he's needed it here because he hasn't been on the pace this weekend so far. We know that he wants to try and get there if he can. He's got one more opportunity to match it with the three guys that have been really fast this weekend. Of course, Josh Waters has been superb, Wayne Maxwell incredible, and Troy Bayliss is always there, isn't he? So Troy Herfoss will have made some changes to his bike, and hopefully he can be joining that group in this race today.
Herfoss had only finished off the podium once until he wrapped up that twice until he wrapped up that championship at the second round at Winton. Down on the grid, that's where he's sitting at the moment. So is Emma. She's down there on the grid.
Brian Starring, you had an issue with your quick shifter, put you to the back of the grid for that last race, but it's a new race and you're starting from third position, which is good news.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, these things happen, and you know, my team's been really good all year, and you know, you see the best teams in the world slip up with something really minor going wrong. So look, that's the way it goes. Pretty unlucky for the first race. Obviously, that kind of stuff can happen at any time over the weekend. You can never predict it. But look, for race 2, everything's in order. We still got back out in race 1 and got some good information from the tyre and everything. So yeah, look, big thanks to Berry Sweet Strawberries and Wallace Risk and my Kawasaki BC Performance team. We'll see what we can do out here in race 2.
Thanks, Brian. Good luck.
Thank you.
He's shown plenty of pace this weekend, hasn't he, Steve Martin, Brian Starring? And he also won the first round, as we mentioned, but he also took a race victory at the first round.
Yeah, I can't help but feel really sorry for him, though, because at this year, that team have had to pick their moments to get those victories. And this morning was a moment that they could have had a victory. Let's head back down to M.
Josh Waters, you finally got that first win for 2018. Well done. Can you make it 2?
Try my hardest. That's what I need to do. So the first race was really exciting. This next one's going to be really hard, but yeah, I've worked with the team, Team XR Suzuki. We're going to make this GSXR hopefully a little bit better, and yeah, I'll try my hardest in this one.
Good luck. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
I think not only was it the happiness of scoring a race win, there was also a certain amount of relief for Josh Waters that he'd actually been able to finally get a win in 2018. Came into this year as the defending champion, and it's surprising to see him not stand on that top step of the podium until the last race. Back down to M.
Hey, Troy Bayliss, what a busy weekend for you. You flew out last night, went to the Supercross in Melbourne, came back this morning, and from Phil Harlem and Steve Martin, we're all wondering where our invite was in that chopper, thanks.
What was that one, sorry?
We're all just wondering why we didn't get a seat in your chopper, myself, Steve Martin and Phil Harlem.
It was pretty full. We had Simon and we had a couple of guys from Race Safe that needed to be there. But yeah, it's been full on. But everything went well. It was a great night last night, and like today, it's been great.
And enjoy the champagne tonight.
I might have.
Ooh, will you have one drink? It's been a while.
I'll have a little beverage with Kimbo, and then that'll be me.
Enjoy. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck, Troy.
Troy Bayliss, 49 years old, and I don't think I've seen him looking fitter.
No, he's definitely on it. When he decides he's going to do something, he does it properly, he does it right. And Troy Bayliss, he could have won earlier on today. He's definitely a weapon, and you know what? Don't count him out. In the next half an hour, he might have another Superbike win under his belt.
Well, he's already had one this year at Darwin, Hidden Valley Raceway. Hasn't been able to crack it for a win since. Back down to Emma on the grid.
Troy Herfoss, our champion for 2018. Now, the guys ahead of you are a part of a very big battle because they're fighting for second at the moment. Bit of work to do from 5th.
Yeah, a bit of work to do, but I really want to do better than race 1. I made some mistakes and had some bad luck in turn 1. So the aim is to improve on that, and yeah, I'd like to be able to see the battle for second in the championship. Maybe even get in there amongst it.
Go get him. Good luck.
Thank you.
bit of bad luck. That's probably an understatement. He was lucky to keep the bike on track at turn 1, Steve Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. And that battle, there's only 10 points between Wayne Maxwell, who's in second at the moment, Josh Waters and Troy Bayliss. So you can expect that to be super hot in the next half an hour.
Well, and the big thing from race 1 was that Josh Waters moved from 4th in the championship up into 3rd.
Yeah. Well, everybody's had an opportunity now, though, to tweak their bikes. Actually, when you get on the race like that, you can make small adjustments. This could be a whole different thing. Let's head down to M.
Glenn Allerton, so fantastic to have you back on the grid for the last race, or the last round for 2018. How's the body? How's the bike? You ready for a big one?
Yeah, I'm ready for a big one. The body's pretty good. It was interesting to get back into the race battle again and to get 4th. That first one was great. I'd love to get on the podium this afternoon. It's going to take some hard work, but I'm up for the challenge and can't wait to get going.
Good luck.
Thanks.
It was a great ride from Glenn Allerton, and also one of the great things we've seen about the season so far, we had 4 different manufacturers of motorcycle in that top 4.
Yeah, it was an incredible battle, and that's what we like to see too. We like to see all the manufacturers up there, and that is what the rules that we have here at ASBK suit beautifully. It's a really good mix. You can pick whatever brand you like, and they're all competitive, and that allows somebody like Glenn Allerton, who's just come back from injury, get that 4th last time out. He's back in race rhythm now, and you know what? I think that he's got through that first lap, that first race. He's up for it. Let's head back down to M.
Wayne Maxwell, your 20th career pole. Congratulations. Fighting for second in the championship. What's your strategy for this one?
Yeah, we really need to win this race and to really guarantee that's going to happen. So that's the easiest way to do it. So we'll just go for the win. We're so close in race 1, had really good pace. And yeah, so same again in race 2 and just enjoy the last one for the year.
Thanks, Wayne.
No worries.
Good on you, Wayne. 7.5 points.
One more.
Ahead of Josh Waters in the battle for the championship. The distance between 1st and 2nd, Steve Martin, is 5 points. The distance between 1st and 3rd is 7 points.
What an incredible qualifying time he did, though. 32.0 blitzed the Australian Superbike lap record and qualifying record yesterday to put him on that pole, the 20th, I think it was, they said, of his career, and boy, he is in the form of his life at the moment.
Well, and a new lap record for Troy Bayliss in race number 1 as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't go talking too much about lap records now because I think they're about to break. Let's head back down to M.
Daniel Falzon, you started on the back foot this weekend. Some issues with your setup. What sort of changes have you made for this one?
Just some geometry changes with the bike over the weekend, and we managed to find something quite significant in warm-up this morning and improved from P6 to P5 in race 1. So I was quite happy about that. We just want to be a little bit closer to the front and make sure we're always competitive.
Can you do me a favour and throw up to the boys?
Back up to the boys. Phil and Steve upstairs.
Thanks very much, Daniel Falzon. This is the first time I think Daniel Falzon's thrown to us all year. Have a look at some highlights of Superbike race number 1 as we get ready for race 2. It was a great start for Brian Starring from the front row of the grid on board that BC Performance Kawasaki, but Josh Waters led the race early on.
Absolutely. It didn't take long for that front group of 3 to pull away from the group behind him either, but it was on. We thought that Bayliss was dropping off the back, but boy, were we far from wrong. Waters was out the front there. His hand off the handlebar for a second. Don't know what he was doing there, but then it was Wayne Maxwell's turn to take his lead, his shot at glory.
And when Wayne Maxwell went to the lead, you could see Josh Waters did nothing but just glue himself to the back of the factory Yamaha YZF R1M. And Troy Bayliss had this massive moment coming out of the Kawasaki, or heading down towards Kawasaki corner. And we thought that his challenge may have been done and dusted. 1 lap later, he was in the lead.
Yeah, I think he said, you know what, I've had enough of these boys. I'm going to get out and show them how it's done. Well, he did for a little bit, but then Wayne Maxwell went back out in front, but Bayliss wasn't having any of it. He went round the outside, as did Josh Waters. But then this happened. Josh Waters up the inside, got a sneaky little pass on Wayne Maxwell there, had a little bit of a kiss. They made up afterwards, though, and put himself in the perfect position to take the victory over the line with Wayne Maxwell in second and Bayliss very close in third.
Yeah, Troy Bayliss, by his own admission, fell foul a little bit of the back marker there and stopped his charge to the line. But Josh Waters timed it absolutely perfectly and took his first race win from the year with Wayne Maxwell in second and Troy Bayliss in third. And as we mentioned, Glenn Allerton in fourth with our reigning champion, or the newly crowned champion, Troy Herfoss, back in 6th place behind Daniel Falzon.
Yeah, let's hope he can get a better start. Let's also hope that that man, Brian Starring, can be competitive in this race. Let's hope that he has no issues like he had in race 1, and I believe that if that is the case, he's going to be up there. Remember, Starring on the BC Performance Kawasaki actually won a race at the start of the year at Phillip Island.
There's a problem back here for someone on the grid. Their bike is being pushed off to the side of the grid. hopefully we'll get underway for our warm-up lap in very short order. We don't want those bikes sitting on the grid for too long. Wayne Maxwell putting the visor down. He's looking like he means business as Sam Phillip signals. There is 4.45 kilometres of warm-up lap to go. Before we go racing, 12 hectic laps to finalise the 2018 YMI Superbike season.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling they're going to be very, very hectic. Ted Collins there on the number 29 next-gen machine. He got a great result in race 1 earlier today as well. As one of the rookies, he's vying for the rookies title at the moment.
That result was so good, Steve Martin, that put him in the lead of the 2018 Rookies Championship, ahead of Arthur Cece's and Mark Kyoto, who led going into the first race of the weekend. Is now back to third place. We just saw him there briefly on your screens, bike number 30, Josh Waters' teammate in the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia camp.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Marcus Kyoto, if I remember correctly. That looks like Patrick Lee, who's pushed his bike off to the side of the track there, so not the best start for him, but at least he can prepare that machine for next year's championship. Well, there's a big field, starting with Wayne Maxwell on pole, Josh Waters in second position, and Brian Starring on row 3.
Row 2 is Troy Bayliss, who was on the podium in the first race. Troy Herfoss, the new champion for 2018, and Daniel Falzon having his first year in the factory Yamaha camp.
Glenn Allerton's there on row 3 with Matty Walters, good ride by him, and Ted Collins on row 3.
Arthur Cece's, who's in the battle for the Rookie Championship, start out of row 4 in position 10, along with Mark Kyoto and Glenn Scott.
Mitch Levy, Jamie Stafford and Kyle Buckley on row 5.
Mitch Reeves, Mason Cooten, Al Phillips, who's had a difficult weekend, out of row 6.
Lockie Epis, Matt Tooley, Adam Senior is there on row 7.
With Phil Char, Patrick Lee, we saw him pushing his bike off the grid. He won't start out of position number 23, and Yanni Shaw on row 8.
Good to see Yanni Shaw there as well. Brendan McIntyre, David Barker, and also Evan Bowles from South Australia round out row 9.
Massive field of Superbikes here this weekend, Steve Martin. I think there was 29 or 30 of them started out the weekend.
31 started the weekend, and you can see them all there. Boy, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of bikes to carve your way through, isn't there, Phil?
And as we mentioned, it is the hardest season that we've seen for so long. There is so much talent in this field. We've been talking all year. A top 15 is an excellent result.
Keep an eye on that number 61. That's Arthur Cece's. He is a bullet of a starter, isn't he? You can almost guarantee he's going to be at turn 1 some point, somewhere near the front.
Was it 4th? He was into turn 1. Final YMI Superbike race for the 2018 season about to get underway. Wayne Maxwell starts from pole position. Josh Waters in second. Great start from the front row of the grid. A great start from Brian Starring on board the BC Performance Kawasaki. Keep our eye on Arthur Cece's as they make their way down towards turn 1. There he is on the inside, bike number 61 up the inside, and he goes up to about 5th or 6th position from the 3rd row of the grid.
Good result for him, but is that Josh Waters back in the middle of the pack in about 5th? He's got a little bit of work to do from there if he wants to make his way to the front. Daniel Falzon's in that group too now, but Brian Starring with a much better start this time round. He'll be quite relieved with that start.
The Pharaoh of Phillip Island, Wayne Maxwell leads them as they head out towards Kawasaki corner and down towards the YMI corner, turn 4 for the first time. Bayliss, a good start from him too, up into 3rd place. Josh Waters around the outside of Daniel Falzon, taking the long way around YMI corner, turn 4 for the first time.
Glenn Allerton with a lot of work to do there. He's back in about 9th position at the moment, so definitely not the start he wants. He's just behind Troy Herfoss, who is behind Arthur Cece's at the moment.
Yeah, the Australian Championships wrapped up in that little 2-man battle between Glenn Allerton, the 3-time Australian Superbike champion, and Troy Herfoss.
But look at Wayne Maxwell out front at the moment. He is not wasting any time. He's already got a couple of bike lengths lead there. Bayliss is hanging right on the back of Brian Starring now. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to make a move pretty soon.
Oh, Cece's having a tight line there. Is that Michael Edwards on board his Yamaha?
Yes.
Looks like he's taken a bit of a detour.
Yeah, that is Michael Edwards from Queensland.
Let's get an update on what happened to Patrick Lee from Emma.
Patrick, tough luck. What was the problem there?
Yeah, today was good race in the race 1, and I did my PB, and race 2, unfortunately, the bike couldn't stop because of the battery wrong flat. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to next year's season. Yeah, it's beautiful weather.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bayliss there just looking for a way up the inside, Phil. He's not hanging around. I think that he feels that he needs to be right behind Wayne Maxwell. Wayne Maxwell's your danger man, and I'll tell you what, Josh Waters has got a lot of work to do. There's a big gap now from Bayliss back to Waters.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on the lap times. on the first flying lap, there wasn't that much between the lap times, but this top three have just started to break away a little bit. Josh Waters is leading the charge forward, and look who's right on his tail. It's his teammate, Mark Kyoto, who earlier on this weekend said that Josh is hopeless as a teammate because he doesn't give him any information.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's learning a lot right now, sitting behind him. If he can stay there for the rest of the race, he'll find himself in a good position. Fifth is a pretty impressive start for Mark Kyoto at the moment, in front of the reigning champion, Troy Herfoss even.
Yeah, Arthur Cece's and Ted Collins, the top three rookies, are all in the top 10 in this race, with Matt Walters on board, the Rover coaches, Swan Insurance, Kawasaki rounding out the top 10 at the moment, with Mitch Reese, Glenn Scott, Mitch Levy back there in 11th, 12th and 13th position as well.
So I'll tell you what, as the Gaggle head down into Pirelli corner, it's looking pretty ominous there at the moment for Wayne Maxwell. He's just managing to hold out that couple of bike lengths lead, but Brian Starring, he's just there, he's hanging in there, he's not really losing too much. His bike's looking stable. You compare it to Bayliss. You saw Bayliss' bike moving around, but Bayliss has got a great drive there. He's definitely going to try and nip up the inside, which he does. He can't do it, Starring too strong into turn one.
Yeah, and Brian Starring's BC Performance Kawasaki seems to get great drive out of that last corner. We saw it in the first round. It's certainly got no shortage of top speed, and the Kawasaki is well suited to some tracks that we go to throughout the year, not so well suited to others. This is one track where it really is suited.
The team and package work brilliantly at this track, and I think Brian just needs to hang in there where he is for the first half of the race, and it'll come to him in the second half. But Bayliss is going around the outside. He's definitely not hanging around.
We saw in the first race he was keen to try a few different lines and take lines that don't seem to work for other people. Closing in from behind though, Josh Waters, fastest man on track on the last lap at 32.5. He was at least 0.3 of a second faster than two of the riders in that lead group.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to think at the moment that Wayne Maxwell is starting to look after his tyres, but with Brian Starring under pressure, he's put the hammer down. He's a lot closer than he's been to the man in front now on the 47 machine.
Across the top of Lukey Heights and down into turn 10. We are on lap 3 of the 12-lap race.
Look at Waters. That gap has completely evaporated. He's there.
Yep, he's right with them now. We have a 4-bike battle for the lead. The only question is, Steve Martin, Josh Waters has made up a lot of room. How much damage has he done to those Pirelli tyres early on in this race, trying to catch back up to this lead group?
Well, he's done it in one lap, so he's hammered them in one lap. Hopefully, that's okay. If it took him 3 or 4 laps, I would say too much, but I reckon that in the one lap he can now afford to back off and take it nice and easy. Just sit in that slipstream for a bit, let everything cool down, let the temperature come down in that rear tyre on the left-hand side. It should be interesting to see. 0.9 of a second faster. Brian Starring has now taken the lead. We can see that his bike was close on the straight, fast on the straight. He said that he was a lot closer through the back of the circuit than he was on the first lap. Bayliss has gone with him and he's now up into second place as well. Did Wayne Maxwell just let them go past, and he'll sit back there now and let others do a little bit of the donkey work? Down to the pits with Emma.
Calvin Riley, tough luck for that first one, but good news, Brian just moved up to first, looking strong.
Yeah, no, we're pretty comfortable our race pace. Unfortunately, we had a small technical problem in the first race, and obviously it's still a long race to go, and it's pretty close with those top 4, so let's see what happens.
Thanks for a great 2018, Calvin.
No, thank you guys, thank you.
It's going to be interesting to see what sort of pace he can maintain now, but I'll tell you, when I'm just looking at his Kawasaki at the moment, he's just touching the gas. There's a little bit of movement from the rear, like sharp little movements. He won't be happy with that. He needs to be nice and smooth, so he's going to be really smooth on the throttle. But I reckon that if he can maintain this pace to the end, the other guys might just drop off as tyre wear comes into play. He's one of the smoothest guys out there, is Brian Starring. You can see that right now. Look at this as they come around the corner here. Bayliss' thing normally starts to move around. Whoa, it was Starring that was moving around this time.
Coming down to complete 4 laps in this race, it is Troy Bayliss pulling out of the slipstream. Can't get down the inside of Brian Starring's BC Performance Kawasaki. So Starring maintains the lead. Bayliss in second. Josh Waters has now moved up into third place, getting the better of Wayne Maxwell. 4-bike battle for the lead has opened up a massive gap now, about 4 seconds over Mark Kyoto, who's in 5th place, Glenn Allerton in 6th, Arthur Cece's in 7th, Ted Collins in 8th, Matt Walters in 9th, and Glenn Scott in 10th. Troy Herfoss is outside of the top 10.
I was going to say, don't stop there, because Herfoss is 11th at the moment, so this weekend not working out for him, unfortunately. But meanwhile, back at the front, Brian Starring has found something. He's commanding this race at the moment. the rest of the group behind him. Josh Waters making his way through the pack. Fastest man on track was Josh Waters with a 32.2 a couple of laps ago.
Starring leads as they make their way up through KTM corner into the top of Lukey Heights.
There's still a long way to go in this one. Imagine the tyres when they're new, they have ultimate grip. After about 5 or 6 laps, the rubber on the tyre is not what provides the grip, it's the carcass. And we're getting to that point, and that's when bike setup is key in the race. So right now, they're starting to not rely on the original grip they have, but on the bike setup. So now we're going to see where they really set in the next 4 or 5 laps.
Herfoss has got a problem. He's back to 16th position now, so there is some issue with the Penrite Honda. The first time they've actually had an issue all year, because as we mentioned, he had won every round since the second round of the championship. Coming in here this weekend, championship already decided at the last round, but the real question is now, what is going to be the final finishing order for positions 2, 3 and 4, Steve Martin, with Bayliss, Waters and Maxwell in positions 2, 3 and 4 in this race, battling it out for those final championship positions.
Well, the man in second in the championship at the moment is in 4th position. That is Wayne Maxwell, so he'll want to make his way forward. Bayliss is looking pretty there if he stays in 2nd position. It's going to be very, very tight. That's for sure. But you know what? I don't think that Wayne Maxwell will be thinking about that. Yeah, look, there we go. Look, there's Troy Herfoss way back in the pack now. He's just riding around, some sort of issue there, falling back. And there's, is that Glenn Allerton? Glenn Allerton's pulled off to the side of the track too.
Yep, it is Glenn Allerton on the Next Gen Motorsports BMW. First round back from injury for Glenn Allerton, a 4th place in the first race, and unfortunately a DNF in the final race of the 2018 season for the Next Gen Motorsports team. Thought Bayliss was having a big look up the inside of Brian Starring there.
Yeah, you know what? I think he is having a look, but Brian Starring's so strong on the front. He really trusts the front as he dives into the corners. I don't think Bayliss is going to do it there. I think he's going for the drive out of this final turn, the spokes.com.au turn 12. To head down that straight, get a slipstream and try and get him into turn 1. The problem is when he gets there, Starring's just once again too deep, and that Kawasaki is fast.
You can see Bayliss was in the slipstream, and it's a desperate braking manoeuvre down the inside that finally gets Troy Bayliss to the lead of this race on board the Desmo Sport Ducati, and he celebrates by laying a massive black line on the way out of turn 1 towards turn 2. Around through Suzuki corner now. It is the Desmo Sport Ducati 1299 final edition Panigale that leads from the Kawasaki ZX10. Suzuki GSX R1000 in 3rd place, and the Yamaha YZF R1M in 4th.
I'll tell you what, that was a great lap. They're lapping at the flat 33s at the moment. That's a pretty fast pace for these guys. And Bayliss now, I'll tell you what, he's looking pretty composed out the front. In race 1 earlier today, his bike was moving around a little bit more than it is now, but out there, it's looking pretty good.
Let's have a look at the replay of this move, and you can see that Bayliss stayed in the slipstream for as long as he possibly could, but then it wasn't the slipstream that got him past, it was desperation on the brakes, and there's that massive big black line out of Motul corner.
Absolutely. He took a gulp, then he grabbed the brake lever. That was the only way to get past Brian Starring. He did it, and he maintains the lead at the moment. Now Starring's got to do all that hard work again, but I'll tell you what, I've got a feeling he's going to get a good drive. I reckon he'll shoot back past Bayliss down the straight.
Dale Breed on the left, Phil Tayton, the Suzuki tuning guru, on the right. Looking on there from the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia garage. Just having a look at those lap times, Steve Martin. They are slower than what they were in race number 1.
They are. The track is hotter, but the battle is better because it's 4. But I tell you what, look at the lead that Bayliss is stretching out now. He's actually got a bike length. They've caught him up. But I reckon Bayliss has got the pace to pull away from these guys.
And Troy Bayliss, his bike is actually looking a lot better than what it did at this stage of race number 1, Steve Martin. It's not moving around anywhere near as much, and that is the place that we could tell that from, because in race number 1, the bike was all over the show coming out of Suzuki corner turn 2 and on the run down towards Kawasaki turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, perhaps he was taking it just that little bit off the fastest pace that he could do for the first half of the race, sitting back in the pack. Now he's decided to go with 4 laps left and last time through it was a 33.0. Compare that to his fastest lap of the race, the 32.8, 1 minute 32.8. That is pretty consistent racing.
Herfoss back to 15th place. Another high-profile retiree, Daniel Falzon, on board the factory Yamaha, also out of this race, bike number 25.
Yeah, Bayliss has had a pretty fair share at the lead at the moment. I don't think we've seen what Josh Waters can do just yet either. We remember how aggressive he was on the brakes earlier on in the race earlier today into Honda corner there, turn 4. He was the man to beat. So as things get closer to the end, I think you'll see some desperate moves start to happen.
I'd love to see in the second half of the season a stat on how many race laps each man's led. Troy Bayliss would have to be right up there.
Big wobble there by Bayliss. That could hamper his top speed as they head down the straight. Looks like Josh Waters has pulled out of the slipstream too, but he can't do it. Starring's gone up the inside.
I think you called that right. It was a big moment coming onto the straight for Troy Bayliss, hampered his drive, and the lightning fast BC Performance Kawasaki was able to get up the inside. Josh Waters was right in the slipstream of the Kawasaki and couldn't quite get the job done on Bayliss as well as they came down into Motul corner turn 1. Bayliss starting to move around a bit now.
He certainly is, but he's trying a little bit harder now. Big slide on the way in there too. Bayliss is, looks like he's almost riding a motocross bike there, the way he sits on that bike.
Well, maybe he took some from the Supercross last night where he went to watch it.
Yeah, maybe he did, but I tell you what, I'd much rather see him here than on a motocross bike because this is pure magic.
It is pure magic. We've got Brian Starring, the 3-time Australian champion. He's the only rider to have won a 125 championship, a Supersport championship and a Superbike championship, and he currently leads this race. There's that moment that you spoke of, Steve Martin, that hampered Troy Bayliss's drive. Look at Starring, Waters right in his slipstream, and they were ahead by the time they got to turn 1.
Hello, Maxwell's joined the fray. He's there going around the outside over the top of Lukey Heights into the Pirelli corner. Marcus Chiado with a technical problem there. So unfortunately that's his race over, but Wayne Maxwell's saying, right, it's time, now or never. I've got 3 guys to get past if I'm going to win this one. Let's head down to M.
On a racing garage, checked in with Dion. He has no idea what the issue is with Troy Herfoss at the moment. We'll keep you updated.
Right, that's unfortunate for Troy Herfoss, but it looks like it's all over for him for this weekend and this year. But back up the front, it is the Kawasaki man who leads, but briefly because Bayliss has gone back up the inside. Brian Starring, has he won wide? He's held that position.
He went around the outside of Troy Bayliss in turn 1. Waters has gone up the inside of Bayliss as he ran a fraction wide going into Suzuki corner turn 2. He's also got high and wide on the outside, and Wayne Maxwell looking to try and get the drive out of turn 2 and down towards turn 3. We're on lap 10. I think the game has really just stepped up a notch now. We're in the final phases of the 2018 season, and Brian Starring is leading from Josh Waters, who scored his first race win in the previous race earlier on today.
Yeah, absolutely. Another man that hasn't won for a long time, though, is the man on the Kawasaki, Brian Starring, the BC Performance rider. Boy, it's been a long time. The start of the year.
First round and the final race of the first round was the last time Brian Starring was on the top step of the podium. As we make our way up through KTM now, Josh Waters is right on the back of the BC Performance Kawasaki. This is going to be a very interesting run around down the straight this time, because the run to the final straight and the flag starts right here, Steve Martin.
It certainly does, but I'll tell you what, Waters now, he's been sitting back there. He will have been looking after that tyre. And we know that he's strong on the front. Keep an eye into turn 4, into YMF corner down there, because I reckon that's where he'll strike. I think he knows that Starring's strong into turn 1. Probably not the place to do it. Probably not the lap to do it. If there's a little bit of a gap, he'll wait. He needs to bide his time.
Well, the interesting little footnote is as well, we've got a 4-bike battle. We have 3 riders on Pirelli tyres and 1 on Dunlop's. Brian Starring, who was very wide. Oh, Mitch Reese has gone down on bike number 94. That looked like turn 10. And Josh Waters, he's gone up into the lead.
I take back everything I just said, because I tell you what, he's done it. He's confident. He's going for it. And he really has doing an incredible job out front. It's Josh Waters at the moment.
Well, as they came across the start-finish line, there was 9 kilometres to go in this race. We're on the 11th lap of the 12-lap journey.
Watch Starring
up the inside, and he pushes Waters wide. Bayliss runs up the inside, goes around the inside of both of them, takes the race lead does Troy Bayliss on board the Supersport Ducati, and he leads them through Siberia on this, the penultimate lap. 1.5 laps to go. Bayliss in the lead, Starring in second, and Wayne Maxwell trying to find a way past the three of them in 4th place.
No point worrying about tyre wear now. Now you're just seeing what these guys have got. They've laid it all on the line. Maxwell's there in the background. What's he going to do? Can he stick his nose into the party?
Bayliss leads across the top of Lukey Heights and down in towards turn 10. The run down the straight for the penultimate time will start here with Bayliss getting good drive out of turn 10, Starring right on his tail as well.
He needs to be careful out of the next turn, turn 12. That's where he needs to get good drive. If he doesn't, he's going to get sucked up by the guys down the straight and into turn 1. We know how fast Brian Starring is there. He's got to hold it together. That's pretty smooth. He stands the bike up early, but he gets that bit of a bobble. Every time the bike does that, it slows it down. Starring off the track a little bit. That might just be enough. Bayliss might be able to hold it into turn 1. If he does, he's half a chance. Around the outside goes Josh Waters.
The exact same thing that Brian Starring did on the last lap. Look at Wayne Maxwell also trying to find his way through as well as they come down towards turn 2. The Suzuki corner is the Suzuki right on the back of Troy Bayliss' Supersport Ducati. Brian Starring still hanging on to 3rd, and Wayne Maxwell desperately trying to find a way past. He couldn't get his head any further underneath the screen, could Wayne Maxwell, as they come down to turn 4 for the final time.
Watch Bayliss, he's got to go up the inside. He always takes a wide line here, but there goes Josh Waters. How strong is he on the front? He runs wide again. Bayliss is through on the inside, but it's Waters who takes the lead.
Waters through Siberia in the lead, elbows out. He's riding the GSXR 1000 motocross style as they make their way up towards the hayshed now for the final time. I think we're pretty safe that there's no back markers going to get in the equation in this race, Steve Martin. Bayliss in second. You can see Bayliss' bike two-wheel drifting into KTM corner. And as they come up towards the top of the hill now, Brian Starring is trying to set himself up to come down the inside at turn 10.
Maxwell's out of this. Maxwell's off the back of the pack at the moment. Waters closed the line. Waters is off. I can't believe it. Waters has gone down. That's incredible. I can't believe it.
Waters come down, there's a flame underneath the bike, but I think it's okay. It might have just been coming out of the exhaust. That's pretty much secured second place in the championship.
Bayliss is in the lead. Bayliss is leading now.
So Bayliss leads onto the final straight, and he will get up onto the podium, I think, in the championship as well. Brian Starring will come to the line in second place, and Wayne Maxwell will take 3rd and secure 2nd in the championship. But Troy Bayliss, his 2nd race win of the year, and disappointment for Josh Waters at turn 10.
And what a great result for Ted Collins as well, coming over the line 5th. That's a great result for Ted Collins and Matty Walters as well in 6th position.
I think that would be their best races. Their best races of the season.
Absolutely.
Ted Collins in 4th, Matt Walters in 5th. After CCs will get 6th place. Josh Waters still waiting to see if he can come around. I think he did actually get on the bike, come around and secure 7th place. Oh, it's going to be very interesting to see how the final championship equation pans out, because the points will have to be added up, and then we'll be able to confirm 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the championship. But Troy Bayliss, his 2nd race win of the year, and a well-deserved one too.
Josh Waters is out of the equation now, isn't he? So it's between Bayliss and Maxwell. Bayliss won, so...
So we'll have to wait for the championship points to come up, but Troy Bayliss takes the win from Brian Starring by 0.231 of a second. Wayne Maxwell in 3rd, Ted Collins in 4th. Congratulations to him in his best result of the season. Matt Walters in 5th, also his best result of the season. Arthur CC's in 6th. Josh Waters finished in 7th. Glenn Scott in 8th. Mitch Levy in 9th, and Mason Coote will round out the top 10.
Of course, 11th is Alex Phillips, and Kyle Buckley took a nice 12th place for him. Troy Herfoss managed to finish in 13th, but there was a problem there. Phil Chai in 14th, Matt Tooley in 15th, Brendan McIntyre 16th, Evan Bowles 17th, 18th was Yanni Shaw, and David Barker rounded out that top 18 as they head into the podium position there. Wayne Maxwell was lucky to get that 3rd position. Good result for him. But Bayliss, he took the win. Can you believe it? It was incredible stuff. And he managed to wrap up 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, Josh Waters back to 4th place in the championship. There wasn't that much in it at the end, but unfortunately for Josh Waters, he crashed out at turn 10. So the final championship point sees Troy Herfoss on 321.5, Wayne Maxwell on 276, Troy Bayliss on 273, 3 points more, 4 points more, and he would have been 2nd in the championship. Josh Waters in 4th, Daniel Falzon in 5th, Brian Starring finished in 6th, Matt Walters in 7th, Al Phillips in 8th, Glenn Allerton in 9th, and Arthur CC's rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, that was an incredible year, really, wasn't it, Phil?
It was an incredible year, and it was an incredible last race, with Wayne Maxwell starting from pole position, and as they made their way down in towards turn one, he managed to hold the lead, but Brian Starring, Troy Bayliss, Daniel Falzon, and also Josh Waters also got good starts. Unfortunately, the race ended early for three-time Australian champion Glenn Allerton.
Yeah, not what we like to see, and we're not used to seeing that, some sort of issue with the machine there, but Bayliss was having none of it. He was out front, and he was out for victory, pushing through on the Kawasaki man there. He did a great job, and it looked at this stage that Bayliss was gunning for it. Little did we know that the man in third on the Suzuki, Josh Waters, was just ready and waiting to pounce. Meanwhile, back in the pack, there was plenty of action to be had. Al Phillips tries to dive up the inside there, and one of the Rees brothers has gone down. I think that's Mitch Rees, has dumped his machine at Pirelli corner there. Then this happened. Number one, Josh Waters took the lead of the race with just a couple of kilometres left to go, and we thought at that point he was going to be strong enough to do it. Brian Starring struck back through on the inside, but Bayliss went by both of them. What an incredible pass that was.
Yeah, great bike control there from Troy Bayliss to go around the inside of both of them. They're only a fraction off line, and all of the time while these three were battling for the lead, Wayne Maxwell was sitting there in fourth, seemingly impossible for him to try and find a way past these three riders in front.
Josh Waters thought he had it covered, and then he went into the final corner, Pirelli corner, and bang, down he went. Perhaps victory gone for sure this time. There's always next year for him.
Well, he picks the bike up and managed to get across the line and get some championship points. But Troy Bayliss came to the line and he took his second race win for the 2018 season. His first round win was at Hidden Valley in Darwin, mid-race season. And his second half of the season, Steve Martin, was incredibly strong, and he secured third place in the championship with that race win.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see what he's got to say there down on the podium. It's going to be really incredible, Phil.
Let's hear from our top three. There with Emma.
Wayne Maxwell, you look a little bit disappointed with third, but let's not forget you just secured that second spot in the 2018 championship. Well done.
Yeah, look, happy to secure second. Third then, we just weren't quite there. We were in sectors of the track I was really strong, and then other sectors I was just losing too much, just giving away free time. But yeah, happy. You know, this year I've really stepped up my riding. A few little niggling injuries to fix in the off-season, and come back next year super strong.
Fantastic result. Well done, Wayne.
Thank you.
And finishing in second position, Brian Starring, who are just trying to find at the podium. There he is, sneaking away. Brian Starring, congratulations. Welcome back to the podium. You're first since Darwin.
Yeah, I know. That's so long ago, isn't it? Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough for us since Darwin, and it's a really big reward for the team and I to come here and, you know, be super strong in qualifying and get definitely a solid result in the first one, and we're a bit unlucky in the first one. Anyway, that was such a good race. That was such an enjoyable race to ride with, you know, 4 bloody absolute class riders, and unlucky for Josh there in the end. Massive thanks to my BC Performance Kawasaki team. They made all the right moves this weekend, and big thanks to Wallace Frisk and Very Sweet Strawberries.
Well done. Thanks, Brian. And ladies and gentlemen, your winner for the final race here in Phillip Island for the 2018 season, your second win for 2018, Troy Bayliss. Well done.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, I'm really happy. It's the best I've felt on the bike all year. Even in the second race, we made a couple of smaller changes, and it was a pleasure to ride. I really enjoyed it, and really, you know, this morning after the warm-up, I was sort of a bit down, but that ended up being, I think, the best weekend I've had this year. So I'm all smiles. I want to say thanks to all the guys that support us in our team and the guys that are here every weekend giving us a hand. You know, most of us a love job. We're not the big team that some people may think we are. We do it tough and we scrape through, but really happy doing it and love our guys.
We have loved watching you back here on a bike this year. Well done, Troy. Thank you.
Guys, cheers.
Congratulations to Troy Bayliss. It's great to have him back in the championship, and I think the level really has lifted this year. So the MA calendar events coming up very shortly. The 20th of October at Gilman Speedway in South Australia, round 4 of the Australian Supercross Championship. The Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix will be back here at Phillip Island in 2 weeks' time. And I bet they're hoping that they can have a repeat of the weather that we've had here this weekend. And who could forget the Australian Historic Road Racing Championships? We've already seen a few of the riders that will be involved in that, 9th to the 11th of November at Broadford in Victoria. For more details, go to allthews.ma.org.au. congratulations to our R3 Cup champion, Hunter Ford. Congratulations, in fact, to all of our champions. Troy Herfoss, the Superbike champion. Crew Halliday, the Supersport champion. Tom Bramich, the Supersport 300 champion. Dave Bougen and Robbie Shorter, the sidecar champions. And Max Stouffer, who wrapped up the GP Juniors Championship at the last round at Broadford Motor Raceway. Thank you very much for joining us through the 2018 ASBK season. For all the details, go to asbk.com.au. See you in 2019.